So I'm going to miss you, etc. You know, blah blah blah. He said I wasn't old enough to go out on that last Afghan, but I'm going to hang around here at 4-2, and I'm going to go on. I'm going to go on the next one they go on. And that was the last I saw of him.
Yeah.
Like, James Williams here, former Royal Marine Commando and UKSF operator, specifically SRR, from the Commando on the Frontline programme from 20 years ago, and also from the co-host from Beyond the Frontline podcast. And let me tell you guys, this is the flagship product of the Beyond the Frontline podcast, okay? Frontline Nutrition, 3-in-1, BCAA, creatine and glutamine. Comes in 3 flavours. We got strawberry mango, we got orange, and we got blue raspberry. You can get this product at frontline-nutrition.com, the link for which is in the bio and description. Thanks, guys. Go check it out. And here we are again with the Beyond the Frontline podcast. Usually it's me and Ryan, but today we've got a very special guest in, which I think everybody's going to love to hear from, Chris Terrill, the maker of Commando on the Frontline, which was what started it all for me now in this stage of life that I'm in now. I had no idea, Chris, when I stepped off that platform nearly 20 years ago, how much impact you being there would have on me today in doing what I'm doing, you know.
Well, I don't think any of us knew, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know any of you guys coming off that train at Lympstone. You didn't know who I was, and why I was there pushing a camera in your face.
I thought it was normal. I thought it was just part of this is part of training.
Part of the deal, part of the training.
This is the Gucci video at the end that you get.
Media training. No, but that's the thing, James. It was a real start of an adventure for all of us.
Yeah, so many stories come from it as well, Chris. You know, when you think back to everyone, you know, obviously Orlando Rogers, George Sparks. You know, I mean, you had Terry John was a prominent character throughout.
Yeah. No, I mean, it had the adventure to come was a proper exciting adventure, but it was laced with tragedy.
Yeah.
But also comradeship. You know, you and me, you know, we're still great mates, and you know, it's 20 years on, which is fantastic.
Do you know what, Chris? When you say laced with tragedy, it's almost like when you said that there, for me, it kind of felt almost like a depiction of like a war movie. You know, you know, like describing a story of, because it was wartime, wasn't it? You came on at the height of the Afghan conflict, just like I joined.
Well, you say that, James. Actually, when I drove to Lympstone a couple of days before you guys arrived, as I was driving, I heard the news came over. The first soldier had just been killed. The first British soldier had just been killed. 1 soldier down. That's when you guys started training. Only 1 soldier was dead. By the time we finished training, 32 weeks in, I think it was 100 and something. Obviously, by the end of the campaign, it was 453 or something, whatever it was.
Yeah, well, I remember.
But we were right at the beginning. And I so clearly remember you young people, you know, I think there was 49 starters. Original.
56, Chris. I think it was 56.
56.
From what I mean, I remember these numbers because I took a lot of pride in being one of the final out of 56.
One of the originals. Yeah. But I remember you guys being told, and I was there with the camera, by high command, you boys don't know how lucky you are because you're going to go to war. Yeah. Now that for me was a chilling thing to hear. Yeah. It was exciting. It's what you were training to do, but nonetheless, you've got to be careful what you wish for, haven't you?
Well, Ryan and I, we actually talk about this in a podcast, don't we, Ryan? We talk about how, Chris, when I passed out of training, and I ended up doing 4 Afghan tours. I mean, we're 2 with other regiments that I was in. But Ryan and I, we talk about how the Afghan tour was like the golden ticket, and it wasn't. Yeah. It was elusive. It wasn't. You know, you think for that time of conflict there, where you know we were actually in a conflict, and there was, you know, guys were getting sent out. Most guys actually didn't get sent out, did they, Ryan?
Well, that's it. You've got like 1 unit at a time, really, isn't it? It's not like the whole of 3 Commando Brigade was deployed at once. It was, in some cases, I know lads who were in serving before me during your time, James, who for no fault of their own didn't actually get an Afghan tour. Like,
Were lads leaving? Were lads putting their chit in because they didn't get an Afghan tour?
I know one or two who did leave because they didn't actually get an Afghan tour, and then they just put the notice in. I know loads of lads left straight after their first Afghan tour. They just went, this is not for me. It was black and white, really, wasn't it, you know?
It was an extraordinary time. And, part of me as a filmmaker, storyteller, I wanted to tell the story of you guys getting through, arguably the hardest preliminary military training in the world, and then going out to war within 2-3 weeks.
Well, I've always said that, Chris. I've always said out of every course I've ever done, and I did quite a few, I've always said that the hardest course I ever did was bootneck training, was the Royal Marine Commando course. Because you're a civvy, aren't you? You're essentially a civvy walking into that. I mean, selection for the SRR, I'm a trained soldier, but as a civvy. So I'll tell you what, Chris. I mean, I don't know if you want to recall some stuff. Let's start when is there any memories from Foundation? I mean, I've obviously got memories of Corporal Corporal Van Swabic teaching us to wash our balls, etc.
Well, exactly. I wasn't expecting that, because there I was with the camera and thinking, how am I going to get this on primetime ITV before the watershed, And and actually we showed it in its full glory, so to speak.
Full glory
in the end. But it was extraordinary. I mean, I was surprised. I'm sure you guys were, because you were taken right back, right down to basics. And I use the word advisedly. But it was, you were scraped down to your basic metal and then rebuilt up from scratch, weren't you? No, Foundation was extraordinary. I so clearly remember that, and remember you being taught how to iron. Your first weapon was an iron. How you deploy that, and then getting your hair cut, down to the skull.
Even if you didn't need a haircut, you was getting your hair cut. Even if you prepared and you shaved your head, it was almost like the kind of psychological kind of action of you will sit in that chair and we will shave your head, even if you've come here prepared and you've had a grade 2 all over. It's almost like when I look back on it, it almost feels like it's a psychological, we're putting our mark on you. You're ours. You belong to us.
I think there is a lot of psychological stuff embedded into commando training, that goes above and beyond what you'd think would be normal. There is actually an ulterior motive there. Like starting with the haircuts, like you say, how many lads actually got a haircut who didn't need a haircut?
I remember I'd taken my hair off, I think, in preparation. And I still sat in the chair. It's
like a one-in, all-in thing, isn't it, from the start?
It is. And then, of course, one of the key things for me, again, in terms of storytelling, was you all being brought into that room. Major Matin.
Major Matin, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Paul Matin, who's still a great mate of mine. I still see him a lot. Yeah. I mean, he was the guy that eventually gave me my green lid, which is
that right?
Proud possession. No, I mean, we can talk about Paul Matin at a later stage, but no, that first day, I think, was it, James? You were brought into that big room, and you all had to swear allegiance to the Queen at the time.
Yeah. I remember that.
That was quite emotional, actually.
And then obviously, I think obviously naturally, Terry John gets a hell of a lot of mentions on social medias. Terry John, had quite a lot of impact on a lot of the people that viewed that and still view that today. He was the main kind of guy, but you kind of latched onto. He was quite charismatic when he was at West Indies. Charismatic, bubbly,
very charismatic, funny guy. But of course, he wobbled right from the beginning, but he overcame that. His fear of whether he was in the right place or doing the right thing. Do you remember that? He tried to hand in his chit, but he wasn't accepted. But he pulled. He did his best to get through. We all know what happened in the end. But
my biggest memory of Terry John is him complaining how he was cold on Woodbury Common in August.
Is that right?
And I remember saying to him, mate, it doesn't look good for you if you're cold in August.
No, it would be common. Wait for Dartmoor in December as well.
Wait for Sennybridge in February.
Sennybridge.
But that was all part of that incredible bonding process.
Yeah.
And I've always said, you know, as far as I got involved with the training myself, I couldn't have done it without you guys there. I mean, I know you all slagged me off as grandpa and everything, but I know I had your support.
Hey, not at all, not at all, Chris. I mean, later on down the line, I'll come on to the shame, but I still, not shame, that's the wrong word, but the annoyance I still hold to this day that I could not for life, love nor money, catch you on that endurance course, no matter what I did.
Well, the thing is, even, you know, I was a bit older than you guys, but the training, the way they trained us through those stages, building, and it works for somebody at my age as it did for you guys. And I was an endurance athlete, so I did have a bit of an advantage on that one. Having said that, I thought, for me, my nemesis was bottom field. Never mind your 4 commando tests.
Yeah.
Those, you know, I managed to get through those in the end. But my God, I never thought I was going to get through bottom field.
Well, I've mentioned, sorry, Chris, I've mentioned to you, Ryan, I've said, obviously everyone, I mean, I talk about Recruit Williams as a third person, I always do this, but a lot of the viewers, obviously, the exposure that I've got today is because of how I came through on that show and how I was quite a strong character. And I actually said to you on one episode, Ryan, didn't I, how nobody knew this until it came out on a podcast. There was one thing that caught me out. As strong as Recruit Williams came across in that, he wasn't infallible and something broke him. And it was the fireman's carry. I had to redo it.
Oh, yeah.
I failed the fireman's carry.
Wasn't it it's 200 metres on
did you? I don't remember that.
I did. I had to redo it. 200 metres in 90
fact,
seconds.
That was one of the questions, James, I think. Was that captured on film? Because we couldn't remember.
No, I couldn't capture everything on film. I tell you what, though, when we first started fireman's carries, everybody had to pair up, right? Remember? pair up, guys. Everybody paired up. I was left over. I had nobody. So who stepped forward?
I'm going to say
Orlando Rogers.
The duty stackers bloke.
Yeah, a rhinoceros in stature.
Yeah.
So I had to carry him. But,
the trained Marine who wasn't a recruit, he'd been in the gym on Op Massive, like every Marine does. As soon as they pass training, Chris, straight in a gym, lifting weights.
Yes,
you know.
You've now got to look the part, haven't you?
Yeah.
Orlando was a big dude, wasn't he?
He was, and young. He was younger than you, James.
Yeah. Well, I think he was 21 and I was 24.
He was 21. He was younger than a lot of you guys.
What about I think H. Rob? He was young as well, wasn't he?
He was young.
One of the corporals.
Rob,
he's the one, Ryan, with the that classic scene that goes, the one on the range, you know, that classic scene that goes around on TikTok where we're all like sticking our fingers in our respirators trying to get some air because someone didn't win.
That attitude. Ben!
I'm still in touch with Hamish as well.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Chris, I would like to speak to Paul Matten at one point. I don't want to mention the story on here, but I first met him when I was 16 in 2005, and he was OC of the company that was looking after a certain cohort of recruits, of troops in commando training when I first attempted to be a Marine. And before leaving, I had to spend a week in his office, and he was trying to convince me to stay for a week. I was basically his wets bitch. I had to make wets all week and get chocolate biscuits and stuff. But I had a great experience with him that week. He's a tremendous man, albeit a very short period of time. He had a lasting impact, and his last words to me were, I wonder if he remembers this, was, "You'll be back and you don't know it yet. You will be back though at one point." And I did come back 7 years later after watching Commando on the front line.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me. Like, this whole thing, speaking to you guys, it really goes deep with me because, I mean, I'm good friends with James now. I'm good friends with you as well, Chris. And it's like all from a show. And I did get my green lid because of that show. And I'm speaking to you now. It's really surreal. And I don't know. It's a surreal moment, I'll be honest.
Well, it certainly for me was one of the most special experiences of my life as both a filmmaker.
I tell you what, sorry, Chris, and you've done a lot, haven't you? You've done a lot through your life. I mean, you told me some of the stories of what you've done. Yeah. How long have you been in the filmmaking business? Is it like, how many years have you?
40 plus years now, yeah.
So for Commando on the front line to be one of the most special, that's quite a big
Yeah,
deal.
but you know, as an anthropologist, which is what I basically am, I'm an anthropologist turned filmmaker, which means I'm interested in communities and how communities work.
Yeah.
A lot of my work in Africa with Central African tribes. Well, there's nothing more tribal than a troop of young Royal Marines.
Yeah.
So it's
Alpha male
ideal.
gorillas.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's ideal for me. But my way of working is to immerse and practice what we call in anthropology participant observation. So a lot of people say, well, why did you go through the training? Was it some sort of stunt? No, it wasn't a stunt at all. It was because I realized very quickly by being there with you guys, there's no point in just standing on the sidelines and watching. I had to hurt with you. I had to
Yeah.
experience what you're going through. And actually, perhaps more important than that, be accepted by you. Otherwise, I'm always going to be the outsider, the old guy with the camera.
And
I
of
didn't
course,
want to be
Chris,
that.
you also experienced, beyond training, you experienced the kinetic side of the Herricks with 4-2, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that first Christmas, when you guys went home for Christmas, because I was also following not only 94 Troop, but also one of the officer batches with Bertie Carr.
That's right, yeah.
So I was toing and froing. When you guys had your breaks and your weekends off, I had to go to the batch and do training with them. And then, in fact, the Christmas, when you guys had your Christmas, that was my first time deployed. I went out with Bertie.
Did you experience contacts on that deployment there? Like, was you thrown straight into the deep end?
I went out with to Bertie to find Bertie, who was out in Jackie, very kinetic, kicking off left, right, and centre, and very much a shooting war, not an IED war. We'll come on to that.
Yeah, because that was mainly my experience with shooting wars. Yeah,
within a week of arriving, it's in, I think it's Dawn Patrol or Dawn Attack, whatever, Dawn Assault.
Yeah.
That program 4 in the series. Yeah, and Bertie, 3 weeks after training, was leading a company into the teeth of battle.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And I was at his side, and it was just mad. Suddenly, we advanced up that what was called the Shrine, this little mountain.
Yeah.
And the enemy were up there, and they went for us.
Oh, sorry, Chris. Can I just say, Ryan? I think me and you were commenting on that before because that was like was that a dawn attack?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's what we said, Brian, wasn't it? Yeah. That was your typical like pamphlet, first light.
Bootneck stealth, right?
Yeah, because I never experienced that. I mean, I used to go out and it was basically just getting a contact within 100 meters to a kilometer of being outside of your fob, and it happened every time we went out. But that waking up, getting a hot wet on, having some rations, and then waiting for a first light attack and actually doing that in theatre. I mean, that's the gold standard. Again, be careful what you wish for.
It was, but obviously I was shooting with a camera, not a weapon, and it was a case of trying to capture everything. So I was concentrating on that. And it's funny when I got back. I mean, I knew we were being contacted, and there were tracer bullets all over the shop, and we had a tactical withdrawal, then we re-advanced, and I was trying to capture all this to tell the story. It wasn't until some weeks or even months later, my editor, when we were going through the rushes, what we call the materialized shot, said, "Chris, come and watch this." And he slowed down the film. At one point, I'd hit the dust because there's bullets all over this place. The camera was still running, of course, and he slowed it down, and a bullet just came. It's actually in the film. It came and pinged an inch in front of my camera.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I didn't know it at the time. I had no idea at the time. So
that's what it's like, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what it's like.
It's just a blur at the time. You kind of like, yep, I'm still here.
It is, but what I then experienced, which you've experienced, is actually there's the fear and the thrill. There's the fear and the thrill.
Yeah.
And that thrill is the adrenaline, and it's kind of addictive. Is that the right word?
It's one of the biggest things it's one of the things that has the biggest impact when you leave and you try adjusting back to civilian life.
Yes.
It really is, and I'm constantly trying to chase something either on my motorbike or even if I'm just training extreme in the gym, my partner's always saying to me, why you got to lift that weight? Like, why are you putting more plates on? And in my head, I'm like, I've got to take something to some sort of boundary.
Yeah. But going back to the beginning, when you first arrived, I mean, I'd like to ask you, James, and a lot of the boys were wondering whether they'd done the right thing. Some people pulled out quite quickly, if you remember. But you never hesitated, did you?
No,
you of all of them, you were going to get that lid. Come what may.
There was not one point throughout that whole 32 weeks where I doubted. Even when I failed the fireman's carry, I knew I was going to nail it second time. And also, I don't know if my age had something to do with it as well, Chris. I contemplated joining 4 years before, but I stayed around for a girlfriend at the time. When that all went wrong, I remember, I think I said to you, Ryan, the story. I remember being on site. I remember clipping cables to a joist. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm still young enough. And I left my tools on site there and then. I jumped in my car and I drove down to Chatham Army Careers Centre. And I think, because a lot of those lads, Chris, they're young and they're probably wondering still what's out there.
Yeah.
I knew what was out there and I knew how it applied to me. So I was like, I know what's out there. I've done 7 years as a tradesman effectively. And that probably had a huge bearing on my focus through. I was like, no, this is for me.
You were 24, James, weren't you?
I was 24,
24,
but it's that determination. Is your determination, of course, which got me interested in you as a main character, because it was extraordinary. You are so determined, and of course, determination is one of the pillars of the Royal Marines ethos, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Or ethos, I should say.
Ethos. I get that all the time in the comments on the TikTok. request for the pronunciation of that word.
So that's by embedding and immersing and being close. That's how I was able to get moments like that.
Sorry, Chris, can I just say, what one of the most popular, from what I've seen, one of the most popular kind of clips from that show going about on social media is the one where I approach Orlando in the office space, and he calls me over. Yeah, he calls me over, and I think I throw up some salute.
Don't salute Williams.
and he makes a comment when I move away. Morale in a box, something like that.
Exactly. Well, that's right.
Smiling, weren't he?
Well, yes, but you and Terry, you were both big characters, but you led by example, and I think you got a lot of people through just by being you, including me, to be honest, because I didn't think for a moment I was going to get through it. I mean, many times I thought this isn't going to happen.
Do you know what? I find that hard to believe when I see you at 20 metres ahead of me coming out of Woodbury Common, going down Leafy Lane, 100 metres ahead of me, 200 metres ahead of me. I have got my gas on full throttle, 300 metres ahead of me.
You're known for your fizz as well, James. It's not like you're the average guy.
I take a lot of pride in my fizz. I still do to this day. And like some of the competitions I had with the pro boxers, Chris. Obviously, some of the ones that I've trained with.
Yeah,
it's a real. No, I have to be the best. So,
yeah, well, there's a bit of that about me as well. So I was delighted to beat you.
Sorry, Chris, can I just say, I've always wondered as well, because, I think you was probably away in Afghan at the time, but for me personally, from that course, from the Royal Marine course, there's a 5th Commando test, which isn't really spoken about much. And for me, that's the field firing package.
Yeah,
2 weeks field firing package just before the Commando test. So what you do on week 31, you do the Commando tests. On week 29 and week 30, you do the field firing package. And the field firing package for me was a 5th Commando test in itself.
There's also a 6th, I think, James, and that's the 12-mile yomp.
Oh, the one.
What was that one, man? I purged a lot.
You're on about killer yomp on exercise.
Yeah, 12-mile yomp with 100 pounds on your back.
Yeah.
I remember you. It's not that you struggled, but I think you had some injury or something. Yeah, but
No. Was that on Senny Bridge?
Yes.
uh,
No.
was it?
Yeah. It's on an exercise, isn't it, Chris?
Do you know
It's
what,
on Final
Chris? Was it around February time? Because
Yeah.
I have it. Right. Okay. So let me tell you about that. Okay. This is a first as well. You know, recruit Williams as infallible and as tough as he was. That yomp there. I've never said this. I've known it to myself. That there was beginning to break me down.
I know you're struggling with that. Yeah.
It was an injury. It was just, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's accumulation of the 22 weeks before, because that's actually on violent entry, isn't it?
Yes, but that's
Is that
it.
right?
Yeah, that's right. It is. But by that time, everybody was completely knackered and probably injured. We were all carrying injuries.
Oh, Chris,
Violent entry is horrendous, though, isn't it? Like, that's harder than Final X. From my reckoning.
Yeah.
Final X it wasn't in the bag, but it was a confirmation exercise. Violent entry was there. It was exactly what it sounded like. You know, horrendous.
You know, if any of us, I think if any recruit went to the doctor just before the Commando test and said, could you X-ray my feet? Could you X-ray my lower legs? I think every single one of them would get back trooped, because the doctor have a duty of care.
Bones and stuff, yeah.
But everyone's got broken metatarsals. Everyone's got small fractures, and you know, again, I've said before, Ryan, haven't I? The choice is you go to the doctor and you will get back trooped because there's a duty of care, or you dose yourself up on those cocodamols and you get through it.
That's the
Exactly. But you guys,
I
mean, you had Hunter Troop to go to if the worst came to the worst, and obviously Terry ended up there.
Yeah.
I couldn't. If I was injured,
it was Index.
Index. That's the end of story, because and end of film. So I was desperately.
Wait, how was your body on the Commando tests in terms of, like, I know everyone's hanging out, but did you have any real problems thereafter?
Yeah, I had a big problem with my left bicep, and it was hurting like hell, especially on the climbs. And I always struggled with the climbs, not like James or Terry, who shot up there, you know, up the 30 meter ropes and everything, and particularly the full regain. But I had this nagging pain in my left bicep. Eventually, I mean, I managed to get through, with, you know, codamol and all of that stuff. But eventually I had to go to have an operation because I'd actually ruptured my left bicep, and they had to reattach it at the shoulder.
Because obviously you've got the Commando test that is a lot of upper body is the Tarzan assault course.
Tarzan, yeah.
Trying to get yourself up that 30-foot wall.
Up the 30-foot wall and punching through the nets but still, for me, the most difficult thing for me was the full regain at the end of the bottom field.
Yeah.
You know, if I hadn't have got through that, I failed it the first time. And had to go out to Afghan at Christmas, knowing I'd failed bottom field and had one chance to pass it. You guys were pushing on with Tarzan, and somehow I managed to get it for the first time. The first time I ever succeeded in full regain was the last time, and it was the. If I'd fallen off that last time, I wouldn't have got to do Tarzan.
So
that counted.
So you mentioned the 6th Commando test. I mean, I remember that, Yom, and I remember horizontal ice rain in my face.
Yes.
I mean, Senny Bridge in February. I mean, we talk. This is what a lot of the other SF personalities talk about, don't they? Why is the British military, especially British UKSF, why are they so good? Because they train on Senny Bridge. You know, I mean, Ryan's mentioned before that, you know, you've done training in America, and it's incredibly comfortable from.
Yeah, I mean, look, Arizona, Mojave Desert, when we went there, and it was like a 6-week field firing package effectively, but we got to like embed with them and see what they do and stuff, and we were all saying, you don't even need a sleeping bag. Like, it gets cold on the night, but you're not going to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we were just thinking this is a gift. When there's no worry about being cold, wet, or miserable. Is it even soldiering? For a British person, I don't think it is. It's a gingang, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because I'll bet you say £100, Chris. I mean, everything was sodden, so it was carrying the weight of water as well. I remember that Bergen was like cheese wire on my shoulders. Like, I might as well have had a cup. Like, and do you know what? I've never said that before. And I like to be real, because I like to give, I mean, this is what our podcast is about, Ryan, isn't it? We give a real kind of military kind of information out there. And I like to be real. That was beginning to break me, that 12 miler.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it was, but I still saw in you that determination to overcome that. And that's what makes you a Marine. And that's what makes anybody a Marine. And I got a lot of strength from seeing you get through that, because there were many occasions when I thought, I ain't going to do this. I'm not going to manage it. But I know everybody was supporting me, and I learned I was 55 at the time, but it transformed my life ever since, because I learnt that those ethos,
Yeah.
it changed my life even at that age.
Do you know what? For all of the troubles that I've had since I've joined the military with the mental health issues, etc., for all of the fuck ups that I've had in my life, there's been quite a lot after the military. That kind of core foundational bootneck training, it gives you some fantastic qualities which you carry with you.
Yes.
You carry with you for the rest of your days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, completely. I think what I love is, even now, 20 years on, I'm still meeting very, very often. People come up to me to say, "Are you Chris Terrill or whatever?" I joined because of Commando on the Frontline.
Yeah.
And
Chris, I've said to you before, Chris, you created a cult. You didn't just make a program; you created a cult.
Well, I didn't. I mean, it's you guys that did it. I was there to tell your story, and it's your story that has attracted people. And I think made a lot of people decide, actually, I'd like to be a Royal Marine. I'd like to be like James Williams.
100%. I mean, I'll say again, I am a product of that. I got my green light. I took myself out of training, went back in because of that. Like, inspired off the show again, envious as well that the program happened slightly after I left training, so it was an envy there as well of the lads who were getting through it, and it resonated with me. It stuck, and although it didn't happen for a few years later, that show, I can understand why other lads joined off the back of it, certainly, because I definitely did. It's
Chris,
a very powerful bit of filming, Chris. It really is.
I get messages to this day, Chris, from young 14, 15-year-old lads on TikTok because of that program. I'm joining the Marines in 1 year. I'm joining the Marines I got a message from someone saying, I want to join the Marines when I'm 16, but my parents won't let me. Could you give them a call and tell them to let me join? I mean, it's not just from, 20, that program you made 20 years ago is influencing, young 14, 15-year-old lads and their dreams for military.
Arguably more so now as well, James, because social media is, you see, I mean, these clips are everywhere, and it just spirals and it accumulates, and it doesn't go anywhere. It stays and it just accumulates, So it probably is more now than ever. Lads are inspired by that program.
Well, as you know, I think there's an American podcaster who decided to have a look at Commando on the Frontline quite recently and critique it. And she's a military person herself, and she was really impressed with you guys. She was very, very generous in her assessment of not only the films but certainly people like you, gents. So now never mind the films. I mean, through the films, that's just a medium through which I was able to give the world James Williams.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Can I just say though, at the time, I really, for me, the fact that it was on TV, etc., all of that that had no bearing whatsoever on what I was going to focus on and what I was going to do. You know, for me, I've said before, Ryan, I read that book about that army spy, and when I was about 22 years old, I can't remember the name of the book. A lot of people say, "What was the name of the book? What was the name?" I can't remember what it was. I read a book about an army spy, and I thought, do you know what? That sounds like something I want to do. How do I do it? Okay, what did this guy do before? Okay, he became a Marine. I'm going to go and do the Marine course, and then I'm going to go off and I'm going to join what would eventually be the SRR. The program that you make, but being on that program, Chris, at the time, I was so focused on that.
I know
that it, you know, it's almost as if you wasn't there for me.
No, but
unless we was on the endurance course when you was definitely there for me.
but that's precisely the point about. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head, James. My job was to record your story, but kind of disappear a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, if I'd been there, I was on my own, just me and the camera. If I'd been there with a conventional crew, 4 people,
of course, because that's the other fascinating thing about it.
Yeah,
that's the other fascinating thing about it. A lot of people think, Chris, that was like some sort of production. It was just you with a camera on your shoulder.
Yeah. And also, I mean, a lot of people, it's not a lot, but there's people say, "Oh, yeah, but you weren't there. You didn't do the full, 32 weeks." I bloody did. Because I had to. First of all, I was being paid to make a full, a comprehensive series for ITV. So it's my job. I couldn't not be there.
Yep.
I was there for every single day of it. And when and the only time I wasn't with you guys, when you had your breaks, I had to go off. I was in contact with the Taliban.
Yeah. So if anything, you went above and beyond to get your green lid. You were getting deployed to Afghan before you got one.
I did 34, 35 weeks. Yeah.
That's
no, but that's the point. If you're going to immerse and tell the full story, you can't take a day off because something might have happened to James.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't been there, and I would have missed it.
Did you think it would take the legs that it has now? Did you think it would be this beast that it's become?
No.
Really?
No.
Not even during the process, did you not see how that was developing?
Well, as a filmmaker with some experience, I knew that the stories were really compelling. I knew that there were great characters. And it was just like, in terms of, it had the feel of a feature film. Young people arriving, Limpston, spotty youths, as it were, and being then transformed into men. I mean, James wasn't a spotty youth; he was already 24, weren't you, James?
Yeah,
but, you know what I mean. Young people going through a transformative experience, and I was able to capture that on camera over 32 weeks, and then out to the front line. And I don't the opportunity. There have been lots of films made about the Marines before and since, but not that culminated in going to war.
Yes.
And that's what gave it its edge. And I think it's kind of...
the timing was magical, really, wasn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah.
Could I ask, Chris, I mean, so what was the hardest Commando test for you?
Well, as I say, the hardest for me was bottom field, which was you had to get through in order to do the Commando tests.
So how would I be right in thinking that maybe Tarzan Assault Course was the hardest Commando test for you? It certainly was for me. I mean, it's when we talk about what's the hardest Commando test, the one that really catches you out, the one that makes you feel like you're dying.
The 9 mile speed march, not an issue.
Not an issue.
For me. I found that pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Probably Tarzan. Partly because I knew I didn't have to do a full regain, but I had to do a half regain. I was worried about the monkey bars, of course. That was my other nemesis.
Yeah.
So I bugged up my finger, and I didn't have the upper body strength. By that time, especially having just come back from Afghan, I was depleted, and I didn't think I was going to get through those monkey bars.
Do you know what, Chris? Talking about that. I mean, from the way you talk about that, there's a lot of questions that I get from young lads saying, "I haven't got good, I can really run, but I haven't got good upper body strength. How can I get through?" You'd be quite good to give me advice on that, because you are a runner, aren't you? You can run. I mean, you still run to this day. Yeah, that's what you do. You run.
I've always had good cardiovascular. Yeah, I've been a fairly successful competitive runner. Yeah, and still run. Yeah. So I had to work very hard on balancing my cardiovascular with my upper
Yeah,
body
upper
strength,
body. Because
and
we
I
talk
had to,
about that,
I
yeah.
had to
We
work
talk
on it.
about the kind of perfect blend of someone who wants to
Yeah.
go into Royal Marine training, that
Yeah.
perfect blend of being able to run, but also
Yeah.
being able to do 10 pull-ups at least, being able to do 50 press-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But sometimes it's a trade-off because you can become you have too much cardiovascular ability at the expense of your muscularity, and it's
yeah.
getting that balance just right, isn't it?
Yeah, I personally think that I managed to nail that balance. My father used to run a hell of a lot, and I think I got some of his. I obviously couldn't keep up with you in the endurance course, but my BFT time in boots, so a mile and a half in boots, when I actually left Lympstone, I was getting that down to about 8 minutes 10, and in
That's
trainers
good.
about 7:45. So, and I could still combine that with
Yeah.
being able to bang out 16 pull-ups to the beep,
Yeah.
max out 65 press ups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're good times really. And for context for people watching, that's after you've done a mile and a half as well. You know, if
Yeah.
you do a mile and a half and then you have 30 seconds rest or something,
yeah.
and then
Well,
best effort.
I mean, I've spoke about that on the junior command course, Ryan, isn't it? Where that was the only thing that I came top on my junior command course. Because Chris, I did my junior command course 2 years, exactly 2 years to the day from passing out with my green lid. So if we passed out around, was it March 23rd, 2007, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe March 2nd, something like that. 2 years pretty much to the day after, I was on my junior command course.
That's outrageous.
So, which is quick. And now all of a sudden I was in this pool with these trained soldiers, like aspiring MLs, SBS guys, aspiring PTIs, these guys had combat experience. I'd had combat experience as well, but these guys had been like 9-10 year Marines. So I was no longer the top boy on the course like I was in 924.
Yeah.
And I think I came in the top third. I came in the top third of the course, which was good, but I wasn't the number one guy on the course. But one thing I did come first in was the physical assessment, which
Yeah.
was the bleep test, pull-ups, press-ups, sit-ups. And I think,
The old bleep test.
yeah.
Just a quick technical question. Sorry, guys. The lights dropped. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So, Chris, passing out of training, there was 56. I think 56 of us started that. I think probably, would you say, somewhere in the region of nearly 100 touched on it with back troopers who would
Yeah.
come in,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
maybe 100 people touched on 924 troop, and I think there was 6 of us originals, wasn't there?
Yeah. I think 5 actually. Maybe if I counted myself 6, but and I don't really count myself. Of 94 troop popper, I think 5 of you. I think five of you got through. Trying to think all the names now. Certainly you and Bounty and
Yep.
Sparks, of course. Yeah.
There was Joe, Zach,
Joe Hogan.
and
Yeah.
Joe, Zach, and I never remember Barnes.
Barnes. Yeah.
Barnes was that he was a Scottish guy, and he was that typical kind of like.
Yeah.
I remember him just being robust, physical,
Rough around the edges type guy.
robust Scottish. Do you know what I mean?
They're all like that up there, aren't they?
But one thing which I think was quite remarkable was, I mean, let's talk about Sparky, Georgie,
Yeah.
because and you probably talked about this, but nobody, including me, thought he was going to get through.
No, every single major test, Chris, going from
Yeah.
the 4 mile speed march at week 15, bottom field assessment, maybe the 12 miler, which I forgot, all through the Commando tests, every single one, no one thought George Sparks was going to go through.
No. I know Orlando didn't. The troop sergeant H didn't, and certainly John Stratford, our PCI didn't, and I didn't. And I was ready to tell George's story, which I thought he's going to be going home.
Yeah.
But he confounded everybody, and
I've said this, Chris, on this podcast. I have never seen not physical robustness like it, heart. If you've got someone who is a physical, the heart he had, the actual drive and the heart. I remember I remember this one memory on the 30 miler of us on the last leg, and George dragging himself along. He could barely open his eyes. He was pale, just doing his best to keep up with us. I think he was being dragged along at one point.
Yeah, he was. But he was determined not to be beaten. And that's what got him through. And that's what got him the Commando medal.
Yeah, yeah.
Voted for by his peers, by you guys.
Yeah.
And he was, in many ways, the ultimate Royal Marine, to be honest, because it was the determination to succeed no matter what barriers or obstacles were put in his way.
Interesting.
And it's just so tragic that we lost him. I was honoured to give the eulogy at his funeral, which would have been on the day he would have turned 20.
Yeah, Chris, Mark Blight and I went to 4-2 Commando, obviously, to go out to Afghan on Herrick 5. And I remember when we came back from that, George Sparks was still at 4-2 Commando. He couldn't go out because he was 17. You can't go out to a conflict area until you're 18, I believe. I remember him coming up to me and Mark, because we were both going to go to 40. And he was like, "Oh, guys, I'm going to miss you, etc. Blah blah blah." He said, "I wasn't old enough to go out on that last Afghan, but I'm going to hang around here at 4-2, and I'm going to go on. I'm going to go on the next one they go on." And that was the last I saw of him.
Yeah. Well, I remember very well sitting in his flat down the other end there, and I got a call, and it was Orlando. I could hardly hear him. He was phoning me directly from Afghanistan, because he'd done a couple of tours by now.
On a sat phone or something, yeah.
Yeah, and he was saying something. I could hardly hear him. It was all cutting out. And he was saying something, Georgie, something, Georgie, something. And I said, Orlando, I can't hear you, mate. And he got a better signal. And eventually, he said, Chris, I just think you need to know, George has bought it.
Because you know what, Chris? I mean, I don't know if you had any exposure to the Royal Marine Sniper course.
Not in terms of filming. But I was aware that Georgie was going through it, so I looked into it.
Well, he passed it.
Did he really?
Oh yeah.
Mate, Ryan, if there is a ninja course out there.
Yeah, there's ninja.
That's just changed my entire thought pattern of him, because I've never met the lad. I've only seen him through the program and your testimonials, on the guy and stuff. But it's really took me back. He's struggled to get through training, but he's went and passed arguably. Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan. Can I just say on that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair. He struggled to get through training. His heart dragged him through everything.
Sorry,
let's. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. No, forgive me on that. So
no, mate. But it's just painting the character.
I mean, it tells you how good of a person he was to pass. Not many people pass the sniper course, and we all know there's the real soldiers in the corps are MLs and snipers. Them's the guys.
Yeah, MLs. Yeah.
It's known as one of the hardest courses that the military has to offer.
Yeah.
It's short, isn't it? I think it's about 6-8 weeks long.
7 weeks or something. Yeah. It's not an easy course though.
Yeah.
So he went Afghan as a sniper.
Yeah. I believe.
Very impressive.
He was doing his work as a sniper.
Yeah.
When he was killed.
Yeah. But
rocket-propelled grenade. But I think the point about it is, James, Ryan, that, and you'll both know this, he did get through because of just pure determination and heart, as you say, but also because everybody wanted him to get through. You draw on the strength and the will and the support of others. I did.
Yeah.
It is an individual thing, really, but I would not have got through if I'd done that on my own. There's no way I'd got through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's the foundation.
I felt part of 94 Troop.
It's the foundation of the camaraderie, which then which then,
endures,
which endures, and it's so visible, especially through the Herricks, the contacts, when you're sat there in your fob and you're just getting mortared all day, and everyone's just banding together and having a laugh as the mortars and SPGs fly over. It's born in Lympstone, isn't it? Yeah.
It is born in Lympstone, and as a lot of royals say, Lympstone, that's where you spend the best and worst days of your life.
Yeah,
and that's pretty well summed it up.
Yeah, it does.
So, Chris, can I ask? Did you after 924 and Herrick 5, and when the film was made, you've obviously had I think you've had a lot of other exposure to other parts of the military, different things going on. I know that you talk about the Navy, etc. Did you ever try to? I mean, this is a question I wanted to ask you. Did you ever try to find an inroad into UKSF?
Yes, I did, because I had a lot of, obviously, but others, friends who were in SF. But it was almost an impossible nut to crack. And I came across, Recce Trooper, but also SF out in Afghan when I went back in 2011 when I was with 42 Commando in Nadi Ali. No, not Nadi Ali North. And there's a lot of SF work going on there, and I could see it, but I couldn't touch it. And understandably, because I'm not there to give away, tactical secrets or strategies. I had to pull back. I'd love to have got involved.
Because I remember, Chris, you getting in touch with me probably somewhere around 2014, I think.
Yeah.
And you said to me, ITV are looking at doing Where Are They Now?
Yes.
I think I don't know if I can recall, but I think you said to me, I can get everybody, but I've just managed to catch up with you, James, and I think I remember turning around to you saying, not a hope.
No, exactly. Well, that's right, and I completely respected that. But as a result, I didn't do Where Are They Now? I ended up doing one film called Commando Return to the Frontline, and I went back to Afghan with Bertie Carr.
That's right.
Yeah. As a result, which was good, but it would have been good to have done a catch up. Maybe we still will.
It would have been interesting if that was something that could happen, wouldn't it? James showing you through certain areas. All right, so this is what I do on a daily basis. Well, that just sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe in years to come, when I'm in a wheelchair, still carrying my camera.
Which you know what? Which I can probably see happening, Chris. If I'm honest, I don't see you ever stopping. You guys,
awesome.
So George Sparks. I mean, he was probably the saddest story to come out of that. I mean, obviously you had Orlando Rogers. I mean, Orlando. From what I know, you'll obviously know more than me. I believe that he left and he went and made his fortune, didn't he, in the CP world? Incredibly successful.
Very successful, hugely successful. He helped found a company called Solace. Solace. And,
this would have been at the height of the piracy.
The piracy, he's heavily involved in that, and and he and I, remained great mates, along with Paul Martin and obviously you. And I will never forget the day his sister rang me, Jade, with the news that he'd crashed and he was not going to make it. And you know what? This is
sorry, Chris. Can I ask? Not going to make it. So he did survive the initial plane crash, but
but he was in a coma. He'd been so badly hurt.
I didn't know if it was if it was an instant thing or if it was
no, it wasn't instant, but he was thankfully unconscious, and I don't think he regained consciousness, and they knew he was not going to make it. If there'd been the opportunity, I said I'm going straight down. I would drive straight down there. But Jade said you're not going to make it, Chris. Because before that, I'd made another film with Orlando when he rode the Atlantic.
Yeah.
and I went out to meet him. I filmed him training. I filmed him leaving. I took the easy route. I flew over to Antigua ready to see him coming in, and I'd put cameras on the boat, and he'd done all his own kind of camera work, and we made a film called Commando. So we remained, great mates. But then I couldn't go to his funeral. He had a big funeral down in the church where we normally do all the SF funerals, and I was back out in Afghan. This is 2011. Remember it very, very well. And I was actually with Paul Matin. Paul Matin had then become my assistant. We went out together to Nadi Ali to cover the Royal Marines, in contact there. And on the day of Orlando's funeral, we had our own little ceremony and made a little rock grave, as it were, symbolic rock grave for Orlando. And in it we put sweets because Orlando loved his sweets, and poured some whiskey over the top. So it was a very emotional time. We said goodbye to Orlando in our own way, but there was me and Paul Matin thinking of Orlando. There's so many stories were interwound because of Commando on the Front Line, and continue to be.
Yeah.
And I'm still in touch with his mother, who's sadly passed now, and Jade, his sister, still very close to.
That's lovely.
So, I mean, Chris, when you was in Afghan, was most of your time spent down in the kind of Kandahar, Helmand province area?
Yeah,
Did you ever get to Kabul?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got to Kabul a couple of times, particularly when I went back with Bertie. But most of the time I was either in Kajaki, and then in Nadi Ali, I was in Goresh and places like that. Yeah. But I did. Yeah, not as much time as you spent, James, but I was there. Yeah.
Did you hear about the time that James went for a picnic, or wanted to go for a picnic? He had have you been to Jalalabad before, Chris?
I have been to Jalalabad, but not with the Marines.
I was like fully embedded in my role, and and I just didn't see the problem with me not being able to go to Jalalabad on a picnic with my Afghan friends. I remember looking back on it now, the kind of the top cover you have to have, the contingencies. Yeah. But at the time, I was just so engrossed that, what do you mean I can't go to Jalalabad with my friends for a picnic? My troop sergeant at the time was just like,
you mental.
Don't even come to me with this shit.
Oh, this is actually, Chris, can you remember we were speaking about this, James? This is like a filming opportunity. I think James needs to have
the picnic in
Jalalabad.
Yeah, it's a great title for a film, isn't it? Picnic in Jalalabad.
Yeah. Do you know what though, Chris? Would you go back out to Afghan? I mean, I know things have changed.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't know whether you know, but my first time in Afghanistan was in 1972.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was even I was young then. I went out on what was called the hippie trail.
Yes, it was a hippie trail back then.
It was the hippie trail. So I went out overland, just made my own way, hitching across Turkey, across Iran, Persia as it was called then, through Mashhad, and then over the border into Helmand. And I was in Helmand in 1972. Yeah, and that was a place of peace and love. It was where the hippies went. Yeah. And then so many years later, the killing fields. That was for me. That was an extraordinary turnaround.
So you've seen both sides of it, really. That must be that's a crazy thing, like to digest when you've been there, enjoying yourself as a young man.
Yeah, but I think again, James will know this. Never mind the bad guys. We know that the Taliban, what they stood for and still stand for. But the people of Afghanistan are wonderful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Chris, some of my about enough, does it?
Some of the people that I worked with in Kabul, to this day, the laugh I used to have with them, I taught myself the language. I mean, about 10 years ago, I was quite proficient in it. And just the banter, the laugh, the kind of the acceptance. I mean, they are such a hospitable people, aren't they?
Hugely.
Yeah.
I'll never forget going on a patrol in Nadi Ali. We were on a patrol. By that time, 2011, it stopped being a shooting war. It was an IED war. It was an IED thing.
Yeah, I remember
We were on
that,
patrol, and we always had to change our routes and everything just to, because the Taliban would have been out overnight replanting IEDs and changing things. And we were going through a village, and you could tell from the optics and just the feel that there's an issue. There's something about to happen. And what had happened was there was a big IED being planted, and it's right in our path. We were heading straight towards it, and then this old guy came up and had whispered into the point man's ear and said, "You don't need to go that way."
Wow.
The people, the normal people, the farming people community.
Yeah.
And because that's what people don't understand. The Royal Marines and the other British forces, they were fighting a very effective kinetic war, but also fighting, and I think the Royal Marines are particularly good at this, an incredibly effective battle for hearts and minds.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very much.
Do you know what? That you can see how that's a real kind of.
Well, you win the people, you win the war,
and
we won't go into it now, but pulling out as we did, it broke my heart because I think the green shoots of development were beginning to show, and we were beginning to win the people's support and respect because we knew how to treat the people.
Chris, you mentioned there like how again you brought a memory back for me. When in a contact or whatever it's going to be, the atmospherics change. It's almost as if the atmosphere gets thicker. It's like it's a denseness almost where you're like, something's not right here.
Yeah, the children disappear, and there's just signs. And you kind of know, but
and then you hear the crack of that round over your head.
Yeah,
yeah. It's something else. Chris, we covered quite a lot there with, obviously, Commando on the front line from the beginning and, all of the characters through it, the ones that passed away and then the Herrick tours, etc. I mean, I know that you're still incredibly active, aren't you? You're still doing a hell of a lot. I mean, I've been in touch with you. I think you got in touch with me around 2020 when I'd just been medically discharged. Because I was medically discharged from the military with PTSD, combat trauma, and I remember saying to you on the phone, you've actually got in touch with me at a time where I can probably talk to you a bit more openly and maybe do some things with you. And me and you have been in touch since then, but I know that you're really, really busy. So what are you doing at the moment, and what's next for you as you move forward? Because you don't seem to be taking your foot off the gas, do you?
No. Pushing on. Well, now I do have a big project ahead of me now. I can't say too much about it. It's military.
Welcome to my world.
Welcome
to my world.
But all I would say is it's taken me, to get the access that I've got, it's taken me 16 years to secure it.
Wow.
We are just at the point of starting work on it. It's very, very exciting stuff.
Awesome.
But that's all I'm going to say.
Can I ask you, Chris, with regards to you saying it's taken you 16 years to get in there? I mean, you've had. Are you conscious and aware of the fact that a lot of these projects that you do, that it's gonna be that type of time frame for you to get in somewhere? I mean, are you kind of factoring that in?
Yeah, I'm always working on getting access. That's what I do. I secure access into worlds that are very difficult to get into, because that's what it took me a long time to persuade the Royal Marines to let me in.
How long did it take?
Well, I've been working with the Royal Navy since 1995.
Right. Commando on the Frontline was 2006, 2007.
2007. So it took me when I first became aware of the bootneck as a species, thinking this is an extraordinary breed of men. I'd like to know more. because I met bootnecks on the warships on which I'd been filming with the Royal Navy, but they were always slightly, friendly people, but separate. There was something about them, and I was intrigued. And it took me until 2006 to persuade the Royal Marines to let me in and do what I did. And I think they were grateful in the end, because I think it did work
Chris,
for the Royal Marines.
I think you've probably been the #1 recruitment tool for them.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say, Ryan? I'd say.
People drop in the comments if you joined the Marines because of Chris.
But so you're obviously the only one, but you haven't been able to crack is UKSF.
And that hasn't happened. Yeah, and that's not the one I'm about to do, by the way. But as and when, quite soon, I can reveal to you. In fact, I will reveal on your podcast if you'd like to have me back.
Fantastic! We'd always look back, Chris. I mean, the viewers would love to know, what you're up to and what you're doing. Because, like I said, I mean, you're a legend in their eyes. I've said this to you from when I started to open up my social media accounts and try and integrate back into society. I remember saying to you, Chris, you're a legend in that world, mate. The respect you've got.
But Chris doesn't realise it, does he? That's the thing.
No.
Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, Chris, as well. It's been long overdue, mate.
Can I just introduce you to somebody? Hold on.
Go for it.
Oh,
sorry. Can we just say Chris's chair there? We've obviously been in Chris's apartment, which is like
I just want to introduce you to a young lady by the name of Gertrude, who's new to my family.
There she is.
Oh, Chris, because obviously, because I remember your last dog you'd had for some time.
Molly.
Sadly passed away not so long ago.
Passed away in November at the age of 15.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember taking Molly to Royal Marine training with young recruits after we'd worked together, and we went up to Woodbury Common when the young recruits were digging in somewhere, and young Molly was a puppy at the time, and she loved it. She got stuck in, was digging with the boys. They wanted her to stay. She was digging trenches with them. But this is Gertie or Gertrude. So,
happy for you. All good.
Good stuff.
That's really good. Now, Chris, we'd definitely have you back on anytime, mate. Anytime.